Hi everyone, it's Nancy Godra. Today we're going to go over the cash budget collections, schedule of collections, and a schedule of payments for direct material. Following the same example that the book is using about Hayes Company. So basically, you need to know, first of all, what is the pattern of collections of the sales on account. When the company sells merchandise on account, we prepared a sales budget, and the bottom line was that on quarter number one, they sold $180,000. These are credit sales, meaning the customer has not paid cash for these sales. And the assumption is that based on past history, normally 60% of the customer who bought merchandise from us on the same quarter, they pay us cash in the same quarter. The remaining 40% we collect in the following quarters. Now, at the beginning of the year, 1/1/2020, we had some customers that hadn't paid us last year in the amount of $60,000 that we're going to collect in January of 2020, in the first quarter of 2020. So based on the 60/40, what we're going to 60 and 40% pattern, we're going to put together a schedule showing how much of the 180,000 we sold in Q1 is collected in cash in Q1 and how much of it in Q2. The same for 210,000, 240,000, and 270,000. So if we put together a schedule of collections from customers, you will see the 180, 210, 240, 270 will come from your sales budget, the bottom line. Now remember, at the beginning of the year, we're going to collect what the customers owed us last quarter, which the number was given to us, 60,000. Now the first quarter, the pattern is that 60% of it we collect in the same quarter. So the 60% of 180,000 is 108K. The remaining 40% of 180,000, meaning 72,000, is collected in Q2. So therefore, in Q1, we are collecting the amount customers owed us last year plus 60% of what we sold in first quarter, and a total of 168,000. In second quarter, we're collecting 40% of what we sold in Q1 and 60% of the $210,000. So 210,000 times 60% is 126,000. The remaining amount of 210K that we sold in Q2 will be collected in Q3, which is 40% of the 210,000, which is 84,000. So in Q2, adding the 72 and 126, we collect in total $198,000 cash. In Q3, we have 40% of 210,000 and 60% of the 240,000. 60% would be 144,000. We add them together. 84 and 144 is 228. In fourth quarter, we're going to collect 60% of the 270,000, which is 162,000, plus the 40% of the third quarter sales. So in total, $258,000 collection. What happens to 40% of the $270,000 that we sold in fourth quarter? It will be collected in 2021. So it becomes the accounts receivable at the end of 2020. These numbers, the bottom dollar numbers, 168, 198, 228, and 258 will go into the cash budget as one of their as the line for collection. So collection from customers, 168,000, 198, 228,000, 258,000 are coming from the schedule of collection that I just showed you from this slide. Now, the next thing we need to do is the fact that we also need to show how much of our direct material payments, direct material purchases we pay each quarter. So let's look at our assumptions. What is the pattern of collection from customers that, from our vendors that we bought the stuff from? So it looks like in the past, we always paid half of what we purchased on account in the same quarter that we purchased direct material, and the other half is paid the next quarter. Now, as of 1/1/2020, we owed $10,600 to our vendors that we're going to pay on the first quarter of 2020. So therefore, when we look at the schedule of payments, the first item you're going to see in first quarter is that accounts payable that we owe to the vendors in the prior years. Then the next thing is that we're going to look at our direct material budget, our purchases on account. On purchases on account, I'm sorry, we're going to different slides, was the fact that if you remember from the direct material budget, we purchased on account 25,200 in Q1, 29,200 in Q2, and so forth. And our pattern is that half of the purchases are paid within the same quarter, the other half next quarter. So if you look at it, out of the 25,200, we pay 50% of it in Q1, the other 50% in Q2. And then out of the 29,200, 50% of it in Q2 and the other 50% in Q3, and so forth. That's how we arrive at the payment for direct material for each quarter, and that's going to show up in your cash budget as the direct material disbursement, the total that we got from a schedule of payment. If you have any questions about the schedule of collection and payments, please let me know via an email in Canvas.